Yo, what's up guys, this is Electrode, and you are joining me for another hunting tutorial here in Generation 2. Now, as you can see, I'm standing in the rocket base in Mahogany Town, and there's actually going to be two parts to this video. I'm going to be discussing two separate hunts today, but the first one is going to feature these floor tiles that you see in front of me. And before we get into the hunt, I just want to say that I've linked my good friend Nodum's channel in the description below. Please go ahead and check it out. He has an awesome video where he hunted Geodude in this particular area. And in that video, he has a couple of infographics that explain what the specific encounter percentages are for each of the Pokemon found here, as well as the specific tiles that they're found on. So if you'd like to target one or two of those Pokemon and not all three, then highly recommend checking out that video just so you know where they all are. But yeah, you can find Geodude, Coughing, and Voltorb in this area. Really interesting that you can essentially soft reset for those targets. Not something you can do in most Pokemon games, but as you can see, whenever I step on one of these colored floor tiles, we get an encounter. And one thing that's really important to note about these encounters is that you cannot flee from them. As you can see, when I try to hit run, it just says can't escape, and basically you're forced to either catch or knock out each of the Pokemon that you encounter. So I'm going to go ahead and use Surf here really quick, but I recommend bringing a strong Pokemon that knows either Earthquake or Dig. Conveniently, all three Pokemon found in this area are all weak to ground, so if you have a strong ground type move, it's really easy to basically mow through this area and check to see if all the Pokemon are shiny. But yeah, as you can see, every time we step on a tile, we're getting an encounter, and once I'm satisfied that none of them are shiny, I can just soft reset and do this whole process over again. Even though the specific location of the Pokemon is not going to be randomized, the DVs of the Pokemon will be, which means that they have a true 8192 chance to be shiny every time you encounter them. Now, before we get on to the next hunt in this video, I do want to mention, this is very important, that Coughing, Voltorb, and Geodude all have self-destruct, and the only foolproof way to prevent them from using self-destruct in Gen 2 is to Master Ball them on the first turn of the battle. Unfortunately, this particular hunt cannot be done at the point in the game which you get Master Ball, so in order to have a Master Ball here, you will actually have to transfer it in from another Generation 2 game, and if you don't want to do that, or if you don't have that as an option, then you basically have to accept going into this hunt that there is a chance that you'll fail your target. The best thing that you can do if you're not going to use the Master Ball is to use a Pokemon with Spore to put the Pokemon to sleep. However, if the Pokemon wakes up before you can catch it, there is that small chance that it uses self-destruct on the same turn that it wakes up and you fail your shiny. So just something to note, that, you know, there is a small chance that you can fail your target going into this if you're not adequately prepared. Just wanted to mention that, but otherwise, yeah, the hunt itself is pretty self-explanatory. It's basically just a bunch of soft reset encounters, and with that, I will see you guys in the next portion of the video. Joining me for part 2 of this tutorial video, and as you can see, I progressed through the Team Rocket base up until the portion where you encounter these 3 Electrode by the generator. And what's really interesting about this segment of the game is that the game will actually not allow us to progress until we successfully capture or KO all 3 of these Electrode. Now, the implication of that for us shiny hunters is that if we were to say run away from the Electrode, then the game generates a brand new one in its place, which has a true 1 in 8192 chance to be shiny. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that for you guys right here. We're going to press A to initiate the static encounter, just like we would with any other static encounter in the Pokemon games. But unlike those static encounters, once we've determined that our target is not shiny, instead of soft resetting and going back through the intro sequence and the title screen and the menus, we're actually just going to run away, like I mentioned previously. And this allows us to speed up the encounters quite a bit. These runaways are actually comparable to random encounters in terms of encounter speed, so it's just a really efficient way to hunt this particular Pokemon. It's a lot of fun. And I want to mention as well that if you guys own Heart Gold Soul Silver, you can actually do this exact same hunt in the exact same way in those games. The runaways work just the same. But yeah, pretty simple explanation, but really fun and interesting hunts. And I'm going to go ahead and show off one more encounter here. There's a couple more things that I want to mention just before we sign off for today. The first is that You want to bring a very high-level Pokemon to this encounter, such as Feraligatr here, which consistently outspeeds the Electrode. If you don't, then you may fail some of your runaways if the Electrode outspeeds you, and that can just become kind of cumbersome, so you definitely want to make sure that you're bringing an adequately leveled Pokemon to this hunt. And the second thing that I want to mention is that, just like all of the other Pokemon in today's tutorial video, Electrode can also self-destruct. So, as I mentioned before, if you're unwilling or unable to transfer in a Master Ball from another Gen 2 game, then there is a slight potential for you to fail the shiny once it does appear. I just want to mention that, but if you understand that going into the hunt, I think it can still be really enjoyable. So with that, please let me know if you guys have any questions on today's tutorial, and if you guys have any suggestions for future hunting tutorials, I would super appreciate that, and I'd be more than happy to make those videos for you. But yeah, final thing, as always, we are live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday night, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch. So if you'd like to join us for some live shiny hunting, I would love to see you guys there. But anyways, guys, take care, good luck on your hunts, and as always, see you in the next one.